Salvador Dali threw a great party. We all drank Bacardi, it got kinda gnarly. We're light as a feather, we're tougher than leather. Together we're weirder together.
Hello, this is Ben Lee.
This is Ione Sky.
And this is a podcast.
And we are weirder together.
We are. We are in your ears. We are here for the parasocial, slightly delusional, but still deeply enjoyable connection that we foster with our beautiful babies, with the audience.
Yeah.
How's it going? What's on your mind?
Great. Something happened. So this morning we decided to, this is big news. It's not.
Whoa. Should I sit down?
Not big news, but we decided to let Goldie skip one of 3 in a row English classes. For some reason, her schedule is.
I believe it was math, but still, the premise holds.
All right, there's one schedule she has one day. There's
3 in a row of English, I think. Yeah,
still don't even understand how that is.
Yeah.
Is it the same teacher 3 times in a row?
Yeah, that's a triple.
It's fascinating schedule. Anyway, so
I hope the audience can handle the shock of this story. Yes.
And so anyway, I was texting with you. You're doing so much press for your upcoming tour.
I was at Today Extra. Pimping.
Extra?
It's called Today Extra. Pimping the Awake is the New Sleep 20th anniversary tour.
I clutched my pearls. An extra?
Oh.
Anyway, so I was texting you, should I wake her up? I forgot how late are we letting her sleep? And you said, yeah, wake her up. So I wake her up. She was, sweet, but not happy. And I left our puppy downstairs and I said, so when do you want me to wake you up? And every single time she said the words or the time, the dog barked twice. So it was like, when do you want me to wake you up? Roof, roof. And then I would pause and I would say, I'm sorry, I couldn't hear the dog was barking. When do you want me to wake you up? She would say it and the dog would bark. It was perfect timing. And I was like, my hearing must also not be good as I get older or something. Anyway, it was the most frustrating. I asked 5 times. Every time I paused to have her answer, the dog barked exactly at the same time as her saying it. And you know what she's like? If you don't get something the first time, a joke, or even if she wants to show you something like on TikTok and I'm doing a dish or something and I come over and the window's closed, the window's not opening.
Dunzo. It's
She's
over.
just like, if you didn't get it once, I'm not repeating it.
Look, the window of intimacy for connecting with a teenager, it is a narrow space. And you got to grab. It's like Eminem, Lose Yourself. You only get one shot.
Yeah.
That's actually about connecting with his teenage daughter.
And then finally she said, before recess is when she wants to be at school. And then I just didn't even think to say what time is that. Because as you get older, when you have little kids, the school schedule like to a T. Because you're just like, at 9:05 they have a snack in school, whatever. As they get older, I don't even remember when she has to be at school. I know when she comes out of school, because that's usually when I'm picking her up. But anyway, I just was like, whatever. That was useless, that whole endeavor.
But it's a great story. And I think that's the main thing is that
it's just an aggravating story of the dog and the kid.
Deeply.
This just life wanting to upset me,
fraying your nerves,
punish me.
I know you have an extremely paranoid relationship to
the universe.
Just like ephemera, just stuff happening. Like you take it deeply personally when things go wrong.
Well, the electronics thing.
Well, that is true. You have that thing Money Mark has that's like chi, where you walk into a room and you short circuit all of the electronics.
I will short circuit a toll booth not opening. You literally programmed our phone to play in the car for me. So it's my phone programmed in there. It still goes to yours. It just like the electronics do not want to work with me.
Do you feel this is reflective of the fact that you truly were not made for these times? Like you are from another era in a sense.
Yeah, kind of. I am. Yeah. Yes, I am. Kind of like Pee Wee Herman.
Ooh. Now we are only one episode through, one and a bit episodes through.
I know. I'm like delighting in it. I don't want it to end.
I was almost reluctant. Like I thought, could we cram it in? This is the Pee Wee as himself documentary that's just come out on Max. I feel like it's almost irresponsible talking about such a staggering work of pop culture art without having finished it, but we can talk about the first episode. It is an incredible documentary.
Yeah, it's so fantastic. Like, thank God. I didn't know, I'm sure a lot of people knew, I guess, but I didn't know his childhood. And like, he went to Cal Arts and he lived in Florida where there was like a circus there. His parents were like, I love that he referred to himself as being privileged, and I looked up what his father did and his mother did for a living. They had like a lamp store in Florida. First, his father was in the military, swashbuckling.
What? Swashbuckling? That's like a pirate.
Yes, the dad.
Oh, okay. He was what?
Swashbuckling. He was strapping men.
Oh, okay. Not actually sword fighting. Okay, sorry.
No. But his jobs. My point is, back then, you could be a privileged person if your parents worked like almost like a good blue collar job.
Well, arguably now that's even more privileged if your parents are together and have a steady income.
I know. Well, you're derailing my point.
Sorry.
that now, no, you have to be privileged. Your parents would have to have such an incredible job.
Gotcha.
I'm just saying, like, to go to Cal Arts, to do all these things, like,
in this economy, yes.
Yes.
Gotcha. Okay, so Pee Wee Herman.
Yes, so just like I couldn't believe how much he worked on. He did theater at a young age and like took it so seriously, studied, probably Shakespeare and all this stuff when he was young. He did trapeze and circus work in a camp and did it beautifully and learned how to physically like walk on tightrope and all these things for real. Then he went to Cal Arts and made all these
and where was Groundlings? That was in there too,
a little later.
Yeah,
underground movies that were incredible, where he was like in drag and these amazing, and then Groundlings, studied improv for so long, then did stand up for so long. So when you watch the Pee Wee Herman show, it feels thrown together, but the level of study of and he almost joined a kind of Merry Pranksters group of psychedelic performance artists. But he, like, my point is, like, he studied and then got into punk in a way. And I don't know, all the influences were so incredible and the amount he studied. Anyway,
he was a performance artist. I think I mean, in Australia, Pee Wee Herman I don't even think it was on TV. So it's something we were aware of, just sort of referenced in pop culture. But it's how deeply rooted it was in like underground references and countercultural references, Andy Warhol, John Waters, all of that stuff really shaped it. And like you said, the punk and underground fanzine aesthetic. But I think the thing that I was most moved by, and that I guess I relate to in terms of my own artistic goals, it was this like subversion smuggled into the mainstream by being childlike and playful, which is, I mean, that's what we're doing. Like, it's really like, I still think of that REM quote that the goal is to be the acceptable edge of the unacceptable. Mm-hmm. And I think Pee Wee Herman just did that so beautifully. Like, it was a pop cultural phenomena, but all of its references were just deeply countercultural and subversive.
Yeah, like dancing in his mom's heels or marrying a fruit salad, like the gay kind of, he was in the closet because you couldn't get a job if you were gay. So he went deep, deep in the closet. And it's so very recent that you can kind of, I mean, even now, if you're out, people, it's still hard. But then for sure, he had to just be in the closet. But even if he wasn't in the closet for his career, and even though his parents accepted him, there were two children, he and his sister, and she was gay and he was gay, and the parents were pretty accepting. He still went in the closet, but he had that beautiful relationship in the beginning. And he was playing house with that beautiful man from school, from Cal Arts, and when they lived in LA. And then he just, he felt he couldn't do both. He couldn't have a career and be domesticated. He needed and once that he ended it, he never had that type of romantic relationship again. Like,
how amazing was that bit with his dad where he finally comes out to his dad and his dad says, "Paul, if you're a homosexual, I want you to go out there and be the best homosexual that exists." I love that.
I know. His dad is so sweet. And like, he was signing autographs at the Pee-wee movie, like the dad. That was nice.
I found it so interesting, the idea that he was closeted. And I mean, I think even there are segments of society and entertainment where being gay would be probably a little more accepted even back then, but certainly not children's television. But the fact that he embodied this character that was kind of asexual, but also kind of pervy. Like a lot of the references in Pee-wee's Playhouse were like adult references.
Well, he had other characters be pervy. He wasn't. He had, not pervy, but he had, there was that like, he loved like 1950s and 30s, 40s, 50s films and stuff. Often had that sailor guy, the one who's got the beard. And
the one played by Phil Hartman.
Yeah. So he had that character of that sailor guy, which is sort of a gay, character that gay men would like. The character, he's not gay, but gay men would like because he's so masculine. And then he had that like sweet 1950s woman who was in love with the sailor. So he had other characters do it, but he was the grown child-like person.
Yeah, the man-child. It's interesting with repression of sexuality. I'm reminded of when I had a guru in India and all the monks and everything are supposed to be ascetics and not, abstinent and all of that. And one of my mum's friends, who's a psychologist, came and was watching the sensuality of some of the rituals, like washing of the deities and all this stuff. And she said something so interesting. She was like, it's got to go somewhere.
Right.
Sexual energy.
Yeah, sure.
It's like you can't just squash it. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
So.
No, that's so true.
Anyway,
if you think about like the Catholic churches are so beautiful and like dripping with kind of
semen. Is that what you were going to say? Oh, sorry. I missed you. Being married, we finish each other's
sandwiches.
Yeah. Anyway, I can't wait to watch the second part. We're going to finish it.
I know.
So good.
I mean, everybody's loving it so much.
Yeah, it's amazing. And also, Paul Rubens, the whole time he was shooting this, didn't let the director know, but he'd been battling cancer privately. So it's kind of interesting that adds sort of a subtext to it that he knew the end of his life was coming up, and the director didn't. Sorry, I'm stuttering more on the podcast. I wonder why. I don't know.
That part was too sad, maybe.
Yeah, I think you're right. There's something going on. How was your first Evan Dando and the Lemonheads live experience?
I got a great night. Apparently, Evan is very shamanic, Evan Dando of the Lemonheads, and very sensitive, and he very much lets the moment direct his moods, and he doesn't put on a showbiz thing. So we got a night that for some reason, I don't know, he loves Sydney, he loves that theater. Where were we in?
The Enmore.
Enmore. Apparently he wasn't supposed to stay in Sydney too long because anytime he's in Newtown on that road, what's the street?
King Street,
he gets into trouble. So they let him come in, and anyway, I'm just making this up. Could do what he wants. But it was a great show. Oh my God. And Smudge, like all the band of Smudge, who were a band you loved and they love at that. So
I remember the first time I played you Smudge, you were like, wow, I think this guy took a lot from you. I was like, no, I took a lot from him.
And he and Evan have a history. I love being on the side of the stage, even though the sound is not as good. I love being a rock chick, girlfriend, whatever you call it. So it was my heaven. I was going to say happy place, but I don't like that term. Mm-hmm. I was loving it. So I'm with you guys. Everyone's dancing. Oh my God, though.
He played all of It's a Shame About Ray. And then there was an acoustic set in which I did a song Hard Drive with him. Yeah. And then he did Come On Feel the Lemonheads. And it was just
this
awesome.
Song you wrote for him, Hard Drive, is, Bruce Springsteen used to play it before he went on stage. Like it's such a
Phoebe Bridgers covered it. It's a song that's taken on a life
it's such a good song.
I could never have anticipated.
And it's a great story where you and Evan were friends, and you were like, he's like, write a song for me, that'd be great. And you kind of were young and hadn't pulled it together and had some of it. And you had that great story where you looked at a hard drive, and it was a beautiful song about almost like a stick, a stone.
Agua de Marco. Yeah, it is that kind of song. That's right.
Where you're just talking about these things in life in this very beautiful, simple way. And then you're like, this is the hard drive. And it was just one of those beautiful moments where it didn't make sense, but it does.
I loved reconnecting with Evan. I haven't seen him in years. He's married. He's off the gear. He's still, look, it's an emotional roller coaster. He's that type of person, but I just thought this show was peak Evan Dando. He was in great form. He was professional. The band sounded great. It was a long set. He played a lot of songs, and
I know, the stamina.
yeah, it was really, really good.
And we took the best friend we could have brought to this kind of thing.
Kieran, who made up the phrase, "I'm going to punch you in the fucking throat." The beautiful babies know Kieran well, allegedly.
Yeah, he was the perfect, because he was so happy.
And huge Lemonheads fan.
Huge fan. And he's also like a wild card. So we took our wild card friend to a wild card show, and we got such a good night.
Yeah, it was really, really great. And I was happy to share that with you because it's so funny. Like, I have such a long relationship with Evan, and obviously, you know, my fans know, like, my first single, Wish I Was Him, was about Evan. So he's someone that in my personal lore, he's like a huge, huge figure, and we've been through a lot together and toured a lot and everything. And at times I've, you know, like everyone close to him, like he's a complex dude. So there's been periods of struggle, but it just was really beautiful to reconnect and see him in a good place.
I've known him for a long time, but not as well as you. And I felt, for some reason, I felt he gives so much as a person, like the hits he was giving me, or whatever you would call it, when we were just saying hi and hugging. I felt like so filled up and nourished by him as his presence, even though I'm sure, you know, I guess he's a difficult, I don't know. But this show also made me think what an amazing songwriter and musician he is. Like, I guess I've listened to the Lemonheads, but because their initial thing was like he covered Mrs. Robinson, and he was so gorgeous. Still looks great, actually. He was just like, you know, everyone probably thought that, you know, he wasn't as talented because he just was such a pretty face.
Well, and he played it up too. I mean, I think being shirtless on the front of Interview magazine, all that stuff.
He had a push-pull with that, though.
Yeah, it rubbed so against what grunge and everything was meant to be, like hating fame, and he was enjoying it.
But this made me realize, he's such a good writer.
Also, kind of a fascinating twist on the whole thing. When we were backstage and we were chatting, Evan had a bunch of secondhand books, and he was like, "Ben, do you have a copy of this?" And he brought out a copy of Against Nature, Arabur by Huysman, which is one of my favorite books from my early 20s. It's a novel that is basically a treatise on decadence, and it is a fabulous book. It's like a precursor to Picture of Dorian Gray, and it is an amazing book. So I was like, I don't have a copy with me. I took it, and now we're reading it together.
Yeah, and you were right. I think it is Picture of Dorian Gray, but people always say portrait. Yeah, Oscar Wilde. So I recommend, if you can get your hands on this book. So far, we're reading it to each other, which is my favorite. We haven't done that since Herman.
The glass bead game.
The giant, amazing.
since we read an 800-page book with no women in it.
Oh my God, during lockdown, but it was amazing. It was infuriating, Herman Hesse book, that I hated desperate. I hated it. And then, but it was also giving me something, and you don't know what it's doing to you, but it's putting a spell on you, because Herman Hesse puts a spell on you. And I was just like,
it's an
Ben,
awesome book.
I hate the book you picked. And there's no women in it, not one. And it's 800 pages, but it was an amazing book. And I still don't know why it was so good.
Against Nature.
Okay, listen.
Less pages.
And
also, not many women in it, though.
Anybody who likes, I want to give it to every interior designer I know, and I know a few.
Hey.
There's one tour de force part so far. The whole thing is so good so far, this book. It's all about how he decorated his former house. And listen to this decadence. He had a dinner party in honor of a funeral
of his libido.
Oh,
he was having a funeral for his libido.
You think the Met Gala has interesting themes? A dinner party's theme of the death of his libido. The meals, this book was written in the late 1800s. The meals, everything was the way he decorated. What were some of the details?
It was everything was black.
Right. And but the way in the 1800s he did it, it's the most, and he's humorous and hates everybody. Deeply hates.
Deeply misanthropic. It's got elements of like Confederacy of Dunces or something like
really
that.
Good.
Yeah, really,
Book
really
recommendation.
Good. Book recommendation.
Written so long ago.
1868, you guys. Yeah. It's,
anyway,
it's really,
who knew?
really good.
And we were reading it in the park. It's so great. I'm happier since we've started reading this book just because I forget the things I like to do in life.
I also really love nature. But I also love the human impulse to conquer nature because all of our great feats as human beings have come from exercising our will against the elements. It's difficult. It's difficult to write a symphony. It's difficult to build an architectural marvel. And there's something about just the premise of the book against nature, creating a fantasy of your own and like that implementing it upon the world.
Vendors. What's the movie with the boat?
Fitzcarraldo. Yeah, Werner Herzog. Exactly.
Herzog,
Very similar.
Fitzcarraldo. He wants to drag a friggin' boat and take it in the Amazon.
Over a mountain, from one river to the next. That's a great movie.
I know.
Oh
it's really beautiful looking.
I love that. I was in Melbourne over the weekend doing some promo for the Awake is the New Sleep 20th anniversary tour. Tickets are on sale now. Please come. It's going to be really fun. And I was also meeting I met this girl, Imogen Siegler, who's going to play keyboards on the tour.
Oh, that's great.
And it was really fun.
Yeah.
I've put a great band together.
I know. I'm
really
excited about your band. It's really
because it's got an eclecticism where it's not just all like pro session people. Like there's some of those, which thank God for them. They're the ones that hold it together.
Yeah.
But it's also like some people in bands that are kind of like going to keep it a little chaotic, a little loosey-goosey.
I had a sort of daughter-mother date with my 23-year-old and we sat in the living room. This is another thing. I'm getting very like old school in real life moments. We listened to the Smile Sessions, the Beach Boys. So Kate and I sat and listened to this album. And then we watched the movie with John Cusack.
Love and
Mercy.
No. Love and Mercy. Yeah, that's
Love
it.
and Mercy about Brian Wilson. And so we did a whole Beach Boys deep dive. But in the Smile Sessions, he had such amazing session musicians and also the band. So it's like that combination obviously is what a lot of people do.
Yeah, you need those ringers that can just do anything and just get the job done, and then you need a little flavor too.
Yeah. No, it was really cool.
Yeah,
I'm
it was really
excited
exciting
for your band.
One of the things I was thinking about while I was away was that I think I went into this 20th anniversary tour like, I don't know, I've always felt very complicated about looking backwards. And feeling like a little, like I knew I wanted to do it, but I felt I didn't quite understand where it fitted into my forward motion, which is what I'm most interested in.
Yeah.
The next thing. And it was honestly through watching you with your book and realizing how you freed yourself from some elements of the past by looking at them directly.
Yeah.
And I realized that that's the opportunity with these moments, that it's not just celebrating the past, it's finding the bits, like, in shamanism when they call it like soul retrieval, parts of your soul that got stuck in the past at different moments, by looking at it directly, by confronting it, by celebrating it, by re-immersing yourself in it, and then comprehending it, you then have the chance to move forward. And I just realized, it was just this weekend where I realized, wow, by looking back at this moment, I'm creating a whole new future for myself that I don't know what it is yet, but I feel its potency.
I know. I guess that's like when, this is sort of a dark version, but why people have funerals or why people want to like have, because it gives closure. So you're sort of like having a ritual around something and then you can celebrate it and have it be a kind of closure that you can always honor and go back to. But, it is nice to do a kind of like ritual around things. And it really, almost everything, it has been very alchemy, whatever, this book, all the things I hoped it would help do and help me with my past, it has so far. And some of the things are still boiling and working out, but some of them are really like grounded a lot of things ironically, once I wrote it into it's not a story, but when you even a memoir is you write it as a story in a way. But
I
anyway,
actually think turning things into a story, the ability to turn them into a story is how we process them.
Yeah, yeah.
Like once we realize the archetypal beginning, middle, and end of an experience, we've metabolized it.
Yeah. I wish I almost would read the last email my father wrote to me, but I won't. But it's the most I said to Ben, my father read the book. The email he sent back is the most opaque, unsatisfying. It's not bad. It's not good. It's just, he's Mr. Riddle, Confucius man. He just Confucius, I don't know if it's a riddle. He's like an oracle, I believe. He maybe has a persona. I'm not saying he is an oracle.
To say it's emotionally withholding, yes, possibly
but
it
not
is.
bad, not good.
You just can't quite. It doesn't quite land.
It's just like I can't even.
But you know what? You have an exaggerated version of this with parenting, where you've written a memoir and you have this absent rock star dad and all that. But I think if you talk to most people, most people's interactions with their
100%.
parents are profoundly unsatisfying.
Thankfully, like I know a lot of people secretly, like they'll film their mom and put it on TikTok, and moms are adorable, silly, boomers, whatever. And dads are adorable and stuff. And my father is adorable. He's not adorable. He's different. He's funny without knowing he's funny. I mean, this was also very short in all caps, which is why I think he thinks he's an oracle. But that makes it funny.
Yeah.
I mean,
the caps lock oracle.
Yeah, just like, I am speaking the words of, I think he thinks he's being, one thing is I think he thinks it was a tell-all, which it's not, even though it's called Say Everything, but that's because it works with Say Anything. And that he's sort of being sort of great by responding in this sort of opaque way. And I don't even know. I have no idea. That's what's so infuriating. I'm so good at analyzing. What do people mean? What did this text mean? This is like, I don't understand.
It's giving Succession, like Logan Roy figuring out who to give the company to and all the kids looking for clues and just not being able to read anything.
It's not bad. It's not good.
Yeah.
But I'm relieved he read it or maybe read it. I still don't know because it's hard to tell. But
he received it.
He wanted it. Yeah. I almost secretly didn't want him to read it.
Look, he received it. He clicked the caps lock and the rest is history,
But it did kind of help me, my mom, I called my mother, and the book is furthered even more of a, like, not a healing, like my mom and I didn't need like a quote unquote healing, but I don't know, it's making me look at the past and my mother in a very grounded, clear, sort of like not charged, like in a great kind of like I can see clearly now, like in the best way. It's so good. You know what I mean?
I do. That's good. Yeah. Moving forward. Speaking of seeing clearly, we saw those vivid lights clearly last night.
Yeah, because we went to see Sigur Ros.
Yeah, at the Opera House. And on the way in, you get to see for people that aren't in Sydney, we love a light show. Once a year, we do a wild light show.
Listen, but humans
awesome.
love lights. It's
a
bizarre thing about being a human, like lights.
Do you remember Goldie was a baby? We took her to see a production at the theatre and all she did was look up at the lighting rig and just watch the lights go. Sigur Ros, that was a beautiful show. I'd never seen them live, and this was with the Sydney Symphony Orchestra. Mm-hmm. And what percentage of the audience do you think were microdosing magic mushrooms?
I was jealous. I hadn't. And then I was just like,
you were hearing titters around.
I definitely think, it was a show that you wanted to have a little bit of mushrooms.
Look, it was that kind of show where life has gotten kind of serious. We've all got responsibilities, but we as Gen Xers were heading in for some catharsis, and this was our night, and it was beautiful.
It was so beautiful. We bumped into our friends Jesse and Nadav, and they were really.
Hey, let's not incriminate anybody.
No, I'm not saying they were tripping. No, they were. a sight for sore eyes. I haven't seen them in a while.
They looked great.
So yeah, I know that band. They are big. They're a huge band.
Yeah,
in a way, or huge. I mean, you know what I'm saying.
And very influential. The thing that's interesting about Sigur Ros in this show was there is a side of them that's slightly more obtuse or abrasive, but this stuff that they'd done with the symphony was their most romantic, yearning, lush.
Yeah.
It was so romantic.
I know. It made me think of like when you do hear a full symphony, there's always the scary parts, the exciting parts, the mellow parts, it's like it takes you, there's a lot in a whole piece or an opera. There's like different, stories and whatever. This is all the rewarding, beautiful portion in a way. I mean, not difficult.
No, delicious.
Just delicious. It's all that part where you're just like, oh, yeah. But
it reminded me of being in an ayahuasca ceremony. Like it was
the rewarding part of the ceremony.
It was
when
like
you've
being
done
held.
The work, you've done the hard work, and then you're like, oh, okay, I can chill out now.
And it was very like related to nature. And we were watching this gorgeous show, and there were so many highlights. Like they played all their most well-known songs, the orchestrations, the arrangements were just beautiful. There was one moment though near the end that the lights were really dim. Jonsi was singing this gorgeous, in his gorgeous falsetto, and it went gently silent for a moment, and then this made an appearance. And I was curious, just
Ben is holding a water
a sort of aluminium water bottle that you cracked open at precise. There were so many moments where there was just loud dynamic music where you could have done this completely discreetly. You chose a silent moment to crack this thing open. What were you thinking, Ione Sky? No, I don't know.
So insane. As I was doing it, my mind was actually thinking, are you doing this subconsciously to be like a horrible person? Like I'm doing it and I'm thinking.
So wait, you were trying to sabotage the Sigur Ros performance?
No, but I'm thinking like, like this is a bad moment. Don't do this. Don't do this. And I'm not normally someone who I don't have a hard time restraining myself from, what is it called when people.
Oh, Tourette's. This was a Tourette's adjacent moment.
Yeah, or whatever it's called when people are like, sometimes I think I'm going to run into traffic, whatever that is.
Impulse control.
Control. I have great impulse control. I knew as I was doing it, and sure enough, it made this loud noise, and I was like, God damn it, I'm the ass who just did that.
But it's so funny. You leaned over to me. You said, I'm so sorry I did that. And I just said, this is going to be so great on the pod.
Listen, maybe I was getting him back for the time we went to his house.
We did. We went to Jonsi, had a Christmas party, and it was December in LA.
Which is cold because LA, not cold like Minneapolis, Minnesota cold, but LA is a desert. It gets cold in the winter. And he had this house in the east side of LA. We went there. I was so excited because I knew it'd be a great group of people. And I love Sigur Ros. I was so happy. He's got a balcony. All the doors are open.
All the doors and windows of this whole place in the hills, wide open.
Wide open.
We're keeping our coats on.
Yeah, everyone had their coats, but he's Icelandic.
And Jonsi's there in a t-shirt, just being the Icelandic chill dude.
But isn't it the irony thing, like Greenland is actually icy and Iceland is actually very green?
That's a good piece of trivia.
But probably cold.
Yeah.
So he could handle it, and we were freezing.
Yeah, that's true. So
I was getting him back. No,
you played a really long game because that happened probably 6 or 7 years ago, and I could see the wheels were turning. You were like, one day you're going to be playing the opera house. I'm going to open this fucking bottle right when you're having your most tender moment.
People were great in the audience. Like I put my head on your shoulder to kind of like listen to the music, and I was twirling my hair at one point, and I don't know, like I was like, should I not? Everyone was just like sitting upright the whole entire time, not moving around at all. I wasn't moving around a lot, but I was like, what's the etiquette is what I'm saying. At the opera house, which is so fabulous. I feel so grateful. Oh, I'm going off. Okay, first, what's the etiquette? Can you put your head down? At Shaka Khan, people were dancing.
So what you're saying, can you close your eyes? And
Yeah, like I leaned on you and was
I feel
closing
that's
my eyes.
acceptable.
Fine.
That's
No
acceptable.
one else was
The opening
doing
of the
it.
can was more of a problem, I
Of
think.
course.
That's yeah.
The second thing I want to ask.
Yeah.
There's the Disney Hall in
Royce Hall. yeah.
Royce Hall in LA, which is a beautiful place to hear music. And then you've got the Opera House. And what's New York's version? That must have something like a big
Carnegie Hall.
Is that probably, yeah.
Or
but
there's-
architecturally, like that's like exact, like really made to hear a concert.
No, there is one. I forget the name of the venue. I saw Beck do when Sea Change played. He played there. It's I forget. I'll look it up.
Probably beautiful babies listening.
The
are,
beautiful
like,
babies on the way.
yelling what it is.
But that Sigur Ros show was gorgeous. I
Yeah.
loved sharing that moment with you.
Thank you.
The humanity of the can opening. I don't know. For me, it touched me. It's like, can I just say something about
That
the
was
Sigur Ros
annoying.
music though? That there's something, I don't know what this is. Things that are that beautiful make me feel sad.
Sure. Of
Why
course.
is that?
I don't know. Nature makes like
Yeah,
I'll go to
it made me feel
nature,
sad
yeah.
the way a beautiful natural vista would make me feel sad.
I don't know what that is. There must be, I've got to find out because sometimes I'll go somewhere beautiful and I get sad. But I wonder if it's like, I don't know.
All I could think was it was the vastness of it. That you know how with nature, when you see beautiful nature and you realize it doesn't need you at all, it's going to continue on. It's this
Maybe
giant,
that's
it's like the
thing.
Grand
Yeah.
Canyon, like you feel your insignificance, yet the weight of all the pain and human suffering. That's what that show made me feel.
Yeah.
It was big.
I know people like that. Like some people look at the stars and they're like, I love it. I feel so like insignificant and they enjoy that. And for me, I feel scared. Sometimes I get scared. I'm like, I don't like that feeling.
Well, there you go, beautiful babies. Leaving you on an upbeat note. We
Yeah.
do not want to face our mortality. Damn you, Jonsi. No.
I use, just so you know, I usually don't do things.
Oh,
like
you're
that.
the queen of etiquette.
Yeah.
You hate making a scene.
I know.
Yeah. Beautiful babies. Tickets are available now for my 20th anniversary Awake is the New Sleep tour. All over Australia. Pick up a ticket. There's all kinds of fun.
I'm
We didn't
going
even
to-
talk about Hot Tub Time Machine. I got up with them
right.
at the Horde and it was
That
so
was
fun.
great. That was really fun.
Sung a few songs. That was a really great night. And then we went and had a little boogie at Frida's.
Yeah. I'm
but
going
any-
to Brisbane to do a book thing.
You are. If you're in
Twice
Brisbane,
I'm
this
going
is
to
coming
Brisbane.
out in the
Yeah.
morning. So if you're in Brisbane, there's still some tickets available to Avid Reader Tuesday night.
If you want to
So,
hear me read, talk,
Oh, as they should. I mean,
sign a book.
it's a joy.
Yeah.
Beautiful babies, we love you.
We love you.
Sign up for the newsletter if you're not already on it, and we will see you soon.
See ya. All right.
Together we're weirder together.